The smartphone world is poised to alter in a dramatic way, and this time, the shock is not coming from Android. It is coming from Apple. For years, the budget and mid-range smartphone industry has been ruled by Android brands. Samsung, Xiaomi, Apple, and Vivo. These companies dominated with aggressive pricing and lengthy spec lists. Apple stayed mostly out of this fight. Until now, the iPhone 17e is building up to be one of the most essential phones Apple has ever created. Not because it is flashy, not because it is very costly, but because it targets the precise segment Apple has struggled with for years, the mass market. According to various supply chain leaks and industry analysts, Apple is preparing a huge disruption. The iPhone 17e is going to arrive considerably sooner than most imagined. Some reports even imply a launch window as early as next month. If it happens, it will dramatically transform the first half of the smartphone year. And this is not just another little refresh. This is not Apple recycling old parts. This is a meticulously designed approach. A strategy aiming to dominate the sub-$600 sector. That category is the most important one in the world. It is where most phones are sold. It is where students buy phones. It is where first-time smartphone users enter the market. It is where Android has been strongest. Apple knows this, and Apple is finally ready to fight back. To understand why the iPhone 17e means so much, we need to look at what already transpired. Because Apple already tested this method once, and it worked better than anyone expected. Let us go back to the unveiling of the iPhone 16. When Apple launched the iPhone 16, the internet was not nice. Social media exploded with criticism. Tech forums were full of disappointment. People said the phone was pricey. They said it had old design aspects. They compared it to Android phones with faster refresh rates, bigger batteries, and more cameras. On paper, the iPhone 16 seemed feeble. Many feared Apple had lost touch with the cheap market. Some even argued Apple was being greedy, but then something interesting happened. Sales data started rolling in, and the story entirely changed. According to Counterpoint analysis, the iPhone 16 became the best-selling smartphone under $600 worldwide, not just among iPhones. Across all brands, Samsung, Xiaomi, and Apple, all beaten. This was hardly a little win. This was a big shift. Just 1 year ago, Apple's cheap phones were barely apparent in global rankings. The earlier iPhone SE suffered badly outside the United States. In many locations, it failed to attract purchasers. But the iPhone 16 did something different. It appealed to a far wider audience. First-time iPhone customers, students, switchers from Android, international users. This was the first evidence that Apple had cracked the code. Apple realized something essential. People do not buy phones just based on spec sheets. They purchase trust. They purchase reliability. They buy long-term value. And that is where Apple is strongest. The iPhone 16 revealed that many users were ready to tolerate significantly fewer specs in exchange for smoother performance, better software support, stronger resale value. This victory gave Apple confidence, and now Apple wants more. The iPhone 17e is not only an improvement, it is a statement. It informs the world that Apple is serious about the mid-range market. The leak implies that Apple wants to fix practically every concern people had about the iPhone 16e while keeping the pricing aggressive. This is what makes the iPhone 17e risky. Apple is not aiming to beat Android phones by mimicking them. Apple is doing what Apple does best, refining the experience. The iPhone 17e is said to include 5 big changes. Each one attacks a specific weakness of the previous model. When combined, these upgrades make the phone feel significantly more premium, without pushing it into flagship pricing. Let us start with the first and most noticeable difference, the design. The notch is finally going away. For many people, the notch was the biggest cosmetic disadvantage of the iPhone 16e. It made the phone look old, especially next to recent iPhones. Apple has already moved on to the dynamic island in its top smartphones, but the budget model was left behind. That is about to change. According to various sources, the iPhone 17e will have the dynamic island. This is a major thing. The dynamic island is not merely a design aspect. It is a functional feature of iOS. It shows live activities, navigation directions, music controls, timers, ride updates, and sports scores. It integrates into the system in a way no Android imitation has been able to equal. From a user experience perspective, this instantly modernizes the phone. From a branding viewpoint, it does much more. The dynamic island makes an iPhone identifiable from a distance. It provides Apple a visual identity. In a market full of Android phones that appear almost the same from the front, this counts. So, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more exciting tech news and updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.